These are so cool. They're so dimensional. I wanted to do a video on these because, can you guess, Cameraman, what these are made of? Like, they're acrylic, but guess what's in there?
I can't tell. No, it looks cool. It looks like a gem or something to me.
Stuff from the dollar store, literally. Where is it now? Yeah, like wrapping paper stuff and Cello wrap. That's what's in here. I saved one finger so I can show you how to do it. So cool. Let's get started. So sometimes you see a design and you're like, how do they do that? And then you find out the products that they're using, but you might not be able to get that particular foil. So I just went to the dollar store, buck or two, whatever you want to call it. Or you can go to Michael's, like a craft store, and find some Cello, which is, you know, pretty common for wrapping gifts like fruit baskets, flowers and stuff. And anything that's sort of iridescent, and that's what that was. And then I found these kind of little guys here. And this one's kind of crinkly, so I kind of stuck with this one. And then I chopped it up, and that's what I did. So I'm going to just do the one nail with you to show you exactly how I did it and the things that I learned. So I prepped this nail, and I'm just going to put on my dehydrator and a bonder. Let that dehydrator dry a little bit. Okay, so one thing I really learned with this, I did 4 fingers already. I hate my pinky, but the other 3 I like. There's a lot of layers. Not only whatever you build it with, hard gel, acrylic, tip, or hybrid gel, doesn't matter, whatever you want to build it with. There's many layers that have to go on top of that to get the layers of what you want to do. So do each and every layer very, very thin. That's what I learned. Nice little pinch. So I did learn. Cut your pieces that you want on here before you lay down the first layer. So the first layer is the base layer of acrylic or gel or hybrid gel, whatever you're using, and that is going to make the first piece stick. So you got to cut that first piece first. You know, what I also learned was I like it both ways, that it's crinkled and uncrinkled. So I think maybe I'll lay the first piece in uncrinkled. I'll show you what I mean by that. So I just sort of lay it and see how long I'm going to go, and that's a bit long, isn't it? Yeah, it's a bit long. So I'm just going to cut it off here a little bit. And I'll just put that on here and hold it. That's about how long I think I'll make it. So that piece will fit. And I get all my pieces ready. It's a bit tedious, but it's good to know what you're going to do before you do it. You do want to pre-cut these pieces. I absolutely love the dimensions. And you know, naturally, anything that looks very dimensional is going to need a certain amount of layers, to be honest. That's how you get the dimensional look. It's got layers in it. Okay, and even these little scraggly pieces, maybe I'll just keep those off to the side here, just in case. Okay, so now as soon as I start building it, I'm going to put these pieces in right away and hold them down. I'm going to work with my odorless monomer just because I want it to cure a little bit slower, so I have time to put the pieces in. I built these other ones with the fast setting, and I learned that if you wanted to buy more time, this would be hugely advantageous. I just need a few drops, actually. I don't need much. Let me show you what happens if you use odorless monomer like a traditional monomer. See how it's kind of sticky? No matter what you're working with, that means there's too much monomer in your brush. You can see how much the bead is running. That's because there's too much odorless monomer in the bead. You need to use about 3 times less monomer than you would with traditional monomers. Odorless is very, very different. You work with it very, 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 very different. I can't stress that enough. You work with it with a very dry brush, or it does this, it falls a lot. And it's very, very crucial to know that. So it's starting to set up a bit better. So let's do that again. I'm working with odorless. I'm gonna get a little dab here, and I'm gonna drain most of it off. You can see that I'm just getting rid of it. Then I'm gonna lay in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm gonna pop that bead on there. That's a little bead. Clean my brush. I just need a little bit on the end. Oh my goodness, that's not being very patient. Just let it rest. And then I can start shaping it where I want it to be. See, I'm still able to move that previous bead down there. Okay, this is super, super thin, and I can't stress that enough. That's what I learned when I was placing this down. Okay, so I need one more bead here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Place it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Odorless beads need time to just rest on your finger for about 4 to 6 seconds after you put it down, just to absorb into itself so it completely finishes absorbing. Then you can shape it with a dry brush. But you have a lot of time to shape it, which is the total advantage. Okay, so I'm gonna lay in this piece. And I'm just going to hold it with me brush or me finger. That's great. Okay, and then I'm going to wet my brush a little so I can pick up the piece here. And it should lay right in there. That's pretty good. And this little piece here. Ooh, and this little guy here. He's sort of backwards, upside down. And maybe this piece here. Yep, that looks good. Oh, I forgot to crinkle it. You can do that. Maybe I'll do one piece, see if it'll do it. You crinkle it, you can take your thumb and sort of crunch it up like this, and it gives it that kind of crinkled effect. You see that? Almost looks like leather or something. It's very cool. Very crinkly. I'll do the other side. So there's a little chunk. See this area right in here? I am going to see if I can still fit something in there. I may need to add more product, but this is a little bit too fat. So I'm going to cut this guy in half. And I think it's too long too. Yeah, it's just a little bit too long. So it's like puzzles. Okay, now see, I'll just stick it in there and see if it will still adhere. Oh, it is. Great. That's how slow setting is. Gives me time to do all that. That's great. That was a huge advantage, actually. I'm still able to move it. That's really great. I might take advantage of this little piece and snuggle it in here. Yeah, that's gonna stick. Okay, so I'm just pressing it down, making sure it's sticking as it's curing. You got a lot longer cure time with this stuff. Just gonna hold it until it cures in there. Very cool. I don't know if I have time to stick this one in, but I'm going to try. Yep.
Is that middle one not being crinkled going to look really plain?
No, actually, that's a good question. This one's not crinkled. This one's not crinkled. And these two are crinkled. So the uncrinkled looks really cool too. It's very reflective. When it's little crinkled, it's a little less reflective, but marginally. It still looks super reflective. I like the crinkle look. I couldn't decide crinkled or not crinkled. It was a big decision this morning.
We'll check it out in the reveals.
Yeah.
Then we'll make our vote.
It was hard to see between the crinkled and crinkled, so it didn't really matter, but I did like it when I really looked at it. Okay, so to get the dimensions, don't forget about your wrapping cello. So I just got this piece here, and I'm just going to cut like odd shapes, like triangles, maybe, whatever odd shapes, and I'm going to lay it on top. So I'm just going to cut. Maybe I'll just cut one triangle here. And then from that, you can crinkle this piece too if you like. So I'm just going to cut odd shapes out of it, triangle type shapes and little ones and And you can lay it in as one giant piece too if you like. Only reason why I think I like to do the different shapes is because it does add like a crystal cut dimension to it. I really like that. I thought it was very cool. And cut a bunch more than maybe what you need just in case you sneeze or somebody opens a door or turns a fan on. Okay, so I'm going to get a bead of clear, and you can do this in patches. You don't have to do it all at once. So again, if I'm still using the odorless to buy me some time, very little monomer. Place it on your finger and just let it rest for a minute. Give it about 5 or 6 seconds, between 4 and 6 seconds. Do not wet your brush, dry your brush. And when you're sculpting, see how it's not moving? And then once it finishes sort of absorbing into itself, you just want to spread it around. Now we've got a long time for it to cure, so you can take your time. So just spread it around. It doesn't have to be smooth and even or anything. It just has to be there. And then we want to pick up some of this other dimension and sort of just place it wherever you want. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. So just give it a minute, let that just dry. And take a look at it sideways, make sure nothing's sticking up, and make sure that you've got it nice and low, as in not very high, because we need to put another bead on top and just cover the whole thing to secure that whole thing in there. So it's a full, complete nail. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to gather another bead. And again, if this is odorless, very dry brush. Gather a bead, but let it absorb between 4 and 6 seconds. And then I'm going to place this bead at the cuticle. Now give it another 5 or 6 seconds to absorb into itself. You can see it's moving, but it's not really changing shape. And it looks like it's almost done there. Now with a dry brush, I start shaping it and encasing my pieces. I'm just going to encase the whole thing. And I'm just going to keep doing that to build the nail. I'm going to get myself a big bead. So I'm going to hold my brush and get a lot more monomer because I want a much, much bigger bead. And I'm going to hold still again about 5, 6 seconds. And because I gathered a lot more monomer, look at the size of that bead. Got a nice big bead. I'm going to put him down there. Let it absorb into itself. Give it 5 or 6 seconds. And then I'm going to, with a dry brush, start shaping it to where I want it to be. Okay, take a look at it sideways, looking pretty good. Let's file this up and let's see what it starts to look like. I can't wait. Okay. So just a tip, if you are working with odorless, when you finish sculpting it all up, you have to rest under warm water for a few seconds, or just make it nice and cured. It has a sticky layer, so you can remove it, or you can just soak it in water for a second. Okay, so I've completely filed that up, and I'm just going to give it a quick little hand buff, just to prepare it for the gel. Now, this is the magical part too. So you could say this is 3 layers of dimension to give it that super dimensional look. Let's get rid of some dust here. Then we'll clean it off. Even that looks cool. Look at that. Oh, now just wait. Just hang on to your panties. This is Joy. I really like this color. It's very cool. It's ALX-44, but it's a see-through blue. They're becoming really popular now, these clear colors with a color tint to it. It's so cool. Okay, and look at this come to life. Isn't that great? Oh, now, yeah. I will say I did play with it a little, 1 coat versus 2 coat. And I did find the second coat gave it more of the bluish tinge. Of course, the more blue you put, or more layers of the tinted color you put on, the more you're going to see. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So this has more of a silvery crystal look when you just use the one layer. So I'm gonna cure that, and then we'll do another layer just so I can show you what that extra, well, you can see it on the other fingers, but let's take a look at the pictures because I did second coat all the other fingers, and I'll do that now while we're looking at the photos. And we're gonna do a video reveal too, so you can really see the dimensions. Take a look. Don't underestimate what you can find at the dollar store to get such a beautiful look. I just love this look. If you'd like to learn how to do odorless at home, no smell, saves you money, so much easier to do, check this video out. It'll teach you step by step how to use odorless.